Greetings, everybody. It's Rob from Stage Tower Games, and I am back with another Marvel Champions video. This one is about a hero that I personally am not sure what I think about, how I feel about, but it happened. It's real. It's a thing that exists. I don't know what to say about it. That is, of course, Spider-Ham, aka Peter Porker, which is, I guess, the Toon World version of Spider-Man in kind of the multiverse kind of world that we live in. Now, I believe he makes an appearance in the Into the Spider-Verse films, which is kind of fun and entertaining. I didn't know how he would work in terms of Marvel Champions itself, so I wanted to kind of take a look. We have a bunch of some of the previews. The pack isn't fully out yet, and I will make a more in-depth review when that actually comes out. But I want to do a quick kind of what we have so far. I know some of these have been out for some time. Like I said, I've been catching up on different Marvel Champions content. So without further ado, let's hop into Peter Porker himself. 5 recovery, pretty high recovery. After you make a basic recovery, place 1 toon counter on Peter Porker. 6 hand size, hit points 12. He's a civilian and he's a cartoon. Not bad. Okay. Spider-Ham. 2 thwart, 1 attack, 1 defense. Each toon counter on Spider-Ham can be spent as if it was a wild resource. After Spider-Ham takes any amount of damage, place 1 toon counter on him. So basically, every time you take damage, you gain a resource that allows you to be a wild resource, basically. Which explains why he probably wants to take a lot of damage, and that way he'll use it, that way he has a high recovery to make up for it. And he gets a toon counter from that as well. Ham it up. 0 cost event. Remove 1 threat from scheme for each toon counter on Spider-Ham. So the more damage you take over time, the more counters you get, and then you can remove a bunch of threat. This can be pretty powerful because you don't have to remove the counters like you would for, say, other cards so far. Hogwashed. Here we go. Remove 1 toon counter from Spider-Ham. Loudly read this card's flavor text. Pow, bam, whack, smack, boink. Choose to either deal 5 damage to a minion or remove 5 threat from a side scheme. So 1 for 5 is pretty powerful either way you look at it. You gotta remove 1 counter. That's not that bad. I guess in theory, you have to read the card's flavor text to do the thing. It is part of the card, so. But you can see this kind of humor with the cards that they're having and kind of like that like cartoony humor things, and it's definitely fun. But 1 for 5 is a really powerful card. No matter how, it has to be a minion only though. That's a catch. I don't think so. When you deal a card, when you reveal a card from your counter deck, remove 1 toon counter from Spider-Ham. Say "I don't think so" in your best Spider-Ham voice. Cancel the effects of that card and discard it. Again, only from 1 counter. You must take damage though. Remove 1 counter from it, and it's only costs you 1. So these cards are very cheap and very powerful. Actually, 1 to do a cancel in a counter card is really powerful. Organic webbing gets 1 thwart upgrade. Exhaust it and remove 1 counter from Spider-Ham to ready him, and he gains aerial. Okay. I'm hoping that there's something that allows him to help with that. Huge wooden hammer. Gets +1 attack. When he makes a basic attack, exhaust the hammer and remove 1 toon counter from Spider-Ham. Gets +2 attack and overkill. So I believe that would make his attack a 4. Yeah, because he's a 2/1/1. So the hammer makes his attack a 2. And if you move a counter, it makes it a 4 attack. Plus that, you combine that with organic webbing to ready yourself if you want. Captain Americat with Steve Mouser. 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 1 consequential. I'm shaking my head because of the joke. After Captain Americat enters play, give someone a high five. I guess if you're playing solo, give yourself a high five. I don't know. Place one toon counter on your identity and shuffle one Spider-Ham card from your discard pile into your deck. That's a pretty standard ally. It helps power up your engine. You get a counter. You get a card back. Decent stat line across the board. Not terrible. Things are allies, so there's nothing wrong with it. And it's just funny. Petulant Pig. 0 cost event. Stick your tongue out at the villain. The villain attacks you. Draw 3 cards. Now that makes sense. Because the way it works with that is that you obviously want to be taking damage. You want to be getting hit. So having the villain attack you is worth it. And drawing 3 cards, a lot of your cards are cheap cards, will help you. And of course, the sticking your tongue out at it is just whatever. This point's getting a bit ridiculous. Cartoon Physics, 1 cost upgrade. When your identity will take any amount of damage, discard this card. Wiggle your body and prevent all but one of that damage. This card is... It's scary that Spider-Ham is actually good. The first thing that comes to my mind when I look at this card is Future Weapon, Fanaticism, those big heavy hitting cards that do tons of damage. You know, Bulldozer with his Stampede, or whatever his card is. I think Stampede, I think is Rhino. But like these kind of cards that do tons of damage that is unblockable, and you're gonna take someone's taken, 5-6 damage, and being able to just cartoon physics it down to 1, not only is that even better than all damage, because if it's just 1 damage, that's not too bad, but it gives you a counter to power up all your other cards. Great. Lady Spider, May Riley, 4 cost ally, 2 thwart, 2 attack, 4 health, or web warrior, so it kind of goes into the whole Spider-Man set that we have. After Lady Spider thwarts and removes threat from a scheme, if you control another web warrior card, remove an equal amount of threat from a different scheme. That's a really good justice ally for threat for these Spider-Man cards, because you'll probably have another web warrior, so essentially every time she... Actually, no, not really. Because she thwarts for 2. For double consequential, though. I mean, there's probably ways to make it work, but it's definitely a struggle in my opinion. At first glance, I thought it was really good, but then I'm kind of on the fence. Spider-Man, Pavit Prapkar. 3 cost ally, I don't know if I said that name right. 1 thwart, 1 attack, 3 health, web warrior. After Spider-Man enters play, remove 1 threat from a scheme for each web warrior card you control, including Spider-Man, this one. So that's not bad. That's actually an interesting... That's a good one if you're playing like a web warrior deck. And especially if your identity is a web warrior, and that may have some of those cards as well. Combine that with some of the other cards, can be a pretty powerful one. Also could be good to replace the Peter Parker Spider-Man ally, because that one I feel like sometimes is a bit overkill on threat removal. And that one specifically has to be side schemes only, as opposed to just anything. Overwatch. 0 cost upgrade attached to a scheme, max 1 per scheme. When any amount of threat is removed from attached scheme by a thwart, discard this card. Remove an equal amount of threat from a different scheme. Okay. That's actually a decent card. I don't know how much play it will get, but pretty much you attach it to a scheme. This I think would be really good for ones, for instance, when you have like when you have like multiple schemes out, or if you want to put it on, say, a side scheme, you remove, or even on the main scheme, remove threat from the main scheme to keep it low so that you don't lose, but then you can use it to kind of get rid of a side scheme as well at the same time. That's a good little combination trick to do with that. Even the odds. Pretty cool art there. 2-cost event. Requires 1 energy. Remove 1 per player threat from each side scheme. Deal 1 damage to the villain for each side scheme defeated this way. Now I know this is because of the Sinister Motives like pack, and the Sinister 6 has that scheme thing going on. But this is actually potentially really powerful. If you're playing 2-player, it's remove 2 from each side scheme, and you deal 1 damage if you manage to take out any side schemes. Play your cards out, you may do 2-3 damage to the villain, plus 4-6 threat for 2. That's pretty good. Warrior of the Great Web. 1-cost upgrade. Attached to a character with spider in its title. Max 1 per character. Attached character gains the Web Warrior trait. After a Web Warrior ally leaves play, attached character gets +1 attack until the end of the phase. This is good. This will allow Spider-Man, Spider-Woman, those like the original ones, to have the Web Warrior trait. I don't believe they have it currently. So this is a way to give them that and use these Web Warrior cards and still count for those. So that's actually a really good way to kind of integrate those cards into it. Let's see what else we have from our friends. I think the only thing else we have is, I believe, the Inheritors, which I do not know who these people are in terms of like Marvel lore. They look like vampires, basically. I'm just going to say that right now. Bora, 3 scheme, 1 attack, 5 health, Inheritor. Each Inheritor meaning it's 1 acceleration icon. When revealed, if a Web Warrior character is in play, place 1 threat on each scheme. So these are the anti-Web Warrior encounter set. Bricks minion, 1 scheme, 2 attack, 5 health. Each Inheritor minion gains patrol. So the more of them in play, the more effects they give each other. So the first one gives everybody acceleration. This one gives everybody patrol. And again, if there's a Web Warrior character in play, place 2 threat on the main scheme. Deimos gives everybody stalwart. That's nasty. 1 scheme, 3 attacks, 6 health. If character is in play, stun a character you control. So that one is going to stun you and give everybody stalwart. So he's the big one you probably want to get rid of. Genix, 2 scheme, 2 attack, 6 health. Each Inheritor minion gains guard. And if a Web Warrior character is in play, give him a tough. So he gains tough, he gains everybody guard. So there's a way to give guard, patrol, stalwart, and acceleration token. Solus gives everybody a villainous effect, which means they draw a boost card when they attack. 2 scheme, 3 attack, 7 health. I think he's the big leader. He's an elite as well. If a Web Warrior character is in play, give Solus a face down boost card, so he automatically starts with a boost card. And then his next card will automatically have another villain. So his first attack, if there's a Web Warrior, will have 2 boost cards to it. And then we kind of see most of these we've seen. We haven't seen 2 of these. We've seen, here's Verna, 1 scheme, 1 attack, 6 health. Each Inheritor minion gains Vitality at 1. They have 1 damage to each character you control if a Web Warrior. So we have Retaliate, Acceleration, Patrol, Stalwart, Guard, Villainous. I'm trying to think what other ones these could give. I could see one of them giving Overkill, perhaps. That could be a good one. And then maybe range, although range is kind of weak in my opinion. Overkill and one other one, something, and then that would be all of them. So those are the different cards in terms of this little encounter set that we see with it. And as we talked about in the other packs, it's been this thing where they bring an encounter set with every hero now, since the releases are kind of going that way. based on these little, like, what we've seen so far, Spider-Ham is sadly looking really good. It's ridiculous. The cards have weird effects, weird things you have to do. But if you can manage the damage you'd be taking, finding a way to take 1 point of damage over and over, to power up all of these cards, you'll be doing a lot of damage. And a lot of threat removal. Spider-Ham looks really good, I hate to say it. What are you guys excited for Spider-Ham? I'm very curious to see what people's thoughts are on this hero. I was like, I don't know if I really like it or not when I heard it, when I heard the leak about it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And while you're down there, be sure to like and subscribe for more Marvel Champions content, as well as more tabletop content always. And thank you guys for enjoying this video. I will see everybody next time.